Funny that I mentioned this because after we said we were going to do this piece in the meeting, Felipe Contepomi, who's obviously at Leinster now, has just been talking about the genius of Marcelo Bielsa. He says his way of coaching and teaching is unbelievable. People might say Bielsa is crazy, but he's unbelievable in the way he thinks, his ethic, the way he wants to achieve. I think he's one of the guys in Argentina, they might call him loco, the crazy man, but I think being crazy or a genius, the difference is we don't understand the crazy people. Every genius has been treated as a crazy man. And so he's a massive fan of Marcelo Bielsa, who, he started really well at Leeds, and there've been a few really good pieces about Bielsa and the impression he's made at Leeds early on. The work ethic is off the charts, the attention to detail. There was a David Heitner piece in The Guardian that's really good. People should check it out still.
Brilliant, yeah. And apparently he turned up at his job interview. I mean, if there is, he probably did have to do some kind of job interview, even though I think, he was a high-profile recruitment and they've paid proper money for him. So I assume he was top of their list. But
they flew to him, by the way.
Yeah. So it's a sort of an interview of sorts. He wasn't sort of waiting in the waiting room with other managers.
No.
Who's in next. But he was able to sort of recount detail of every match in the previous season and like formations and details. And you would naturally assume that someone who's sort of been an elite level operator for his career wouldn't have the knowledge of championship football.
Yeah.
But it appeared that he did have his homework done, which is in keeping, as you mentioned, with his attention to detail, which means that the players are now doing double sessions and long days.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to tone down, because the championship is a slog. It's a 46-game slog. So, burnout is one question that's already been raised potentially, but we are seeing the results in the opening games. And he is like a godfather figure to a lot of young coaches, such as Pochettino, who actually wrote him a reference that helped him to get the job, because of his permit issues. He needed to go through an interview process where I think he went in front of Kenny Jackett, the manager at Portsmouth, and Stuart Ripley, ex-Blackburn winger, to show that he deserved to work in England.
He brought Pochettino through as a player, met him as a 14-year-old and brought him through. Pochettino loves him, Pep Guardiola famously loves him, Diego Simeone. Every time we talk to Tim Vickery about whatever latest manager is making waves in South American football, he's a Bielsa disciple. It's kind of insane. This guy's the Johan Cruyff of
the leader.
South America, That line about the attention to detail really struck me as well in the interview. It was Victor Orta, the Leeds director of football, and it was Angus Kinnear, the managing director, who flew over to him. And so it's David Heitner writes, Bielsa delved into his copious notes. This is when they asked him, do you know anything about English football? Because you've never really worked over here at all. So this is just mad. Bielsa delved into his copious notes and began his response by detailing the respective teams in formation from last season's Burton versus Bolton game. Then he went through every formation Burton and Bolton had used. I don't know why Burton and Bolton came up. Throughout the season. And after that he did likewise for every other club in the division. Bielsa could say, for example, how many times a team had played a 4-3-3, 4-4-2 or 3-5-2. He had even calculated the probability of one formation to beat another. He can't be doing that on his own. He has to have a factory.
I assume there's a website he used along the way. It's very hard to get access to all that material. I don't think he watched every single game with a notepad, taking down the formations.
It says his copious notes.
He could have just gone to the live score archive, but still, he got there.
Yeah.
And I think it is true. You would wonder, because the championship is idiosyncratic in some ways, and there are these managers who are experts at getting teams promoted, like Steve Bruce and people like that. And you think it's a division where you need to know the terrain a small bit. So that is the risk element of going for like a glamour candidate, as he would be. So he was clearly determined to prove that he wasn't someone who was aloof, was going to stride in and have no knowledge of what went before.
He certainly started very well. The David Heitner piece again, which you sent in my direction and is really good. It starts with Marcelo Bielsa had a question. It's a good opening line to an article.
Bring you into that moment.
Yeah. Doff of the cap to David Heitner. He says the new Leeds manager wanted to find out how hard the average supporter had to work to pay for a ticket to watch the team. How many hours did he or she have to put in? It was unclear what kind of calculations went into the answer, but one was provided. It would be about 3 hours. So the Argentinian called his players together and told them that for the next 3 hours they would be picking up litter from around the club's Thorpe Arch training ground. He wanted them to learn a lesson to appreciate how the fans laboured to fulfil their passion. 3 hours picking up litter.
I'll bring him down to earth.
Yeah.
It's one of those things though where you need the results to be going well. Because pretty soon the players will turn that situation on the head. He had us picking up litter for 3 hours. He's had us in for 8 hours every bloody day.
Yeah.
That there is there are these people, as you mentioned, the Contepoint, the genius people who are decried as crazy. Like there's a lot of them in management, and sometimes there's a shelf life for their brand. It works for a while, but it's no surprise really either that he's had a lot of short-term stays at clubs, because sometimes that intense nature can bring you so far.
Well, he said at Lazio that he knew it was not right. He just looked around and he was like, this isn't going to work. Whereas it seems he turned up at Leeds and literally started checking countertops for dust. And at one point he saw, Dave Heitner has in the piece, a shoe mark kind of half a foot up on the wall. He said, why is there a shoe mark there? And someone said, well, I presume someone was standing against the wall with the sole of their foot, one sole of the foot resting against the wall. And he said, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable.
I mean, that is a small bit crazy.
But he's not going to have it, you know.
It's like that guy in Father Ted going around saying something's wrong with the wall here and just banging away at it with the hammer till they find the fault.
Yeah.
There's some great detail in the pieces about him. And clearly, like, this has been briefed as well, and the people at the club are clearly very keen to get this message out, because it's got people talking about Leeds in a positive manner again, compared to most of the last sort of decade and a half.
Crucially, though, they really have been very good.
That's the main thing. But they've beaten teams that are sort of promotion contenders. They haven't been winning away at Burton and Bolton. They've been beating sides like Stoke, who've come down and brought in a manager and invested like heavily in players in a manner that Leeds haven't yet, and then Derby. So. Who were in the playoff shake-up last year. So it is certainly an impact manager in terms of what you would have desired. And I know they started last season well, but still, it's taking what they've done so far.
Keith Andrews was I was doing the Keith Andrews Football Show Facebook Live every Thursday, and he had watched the Stoke game. He was there at the ground and he was raving about them. He said the football was unbelievable. The intricacy of the passing, he was talking about the rotation when they have the ball, different positions, the pressing. He said it should have been 5-6, 7-8 nil, let alone 3-1. He thought it was brilliant. And he noticed that the whole time Bielsa's staff were on the sideline pointing, gesticulating, pulling people this way, that way. And the whole time Bielsa sits on this like blue bucket.
The blue bucket,
blue bucket, and doesn't move. The word is the Leeds merchandise shop are going to be stocking the blue bucket sometime soon.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before some youth coach who takes himself far too seriously will be sat on the sideline with a blue bucket. There'll probably be one somewhere this weekend in Ireland, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Bring your bucket out of the shed. This could be the difference maker for you, you know.